I think my computer was, did you
Oh,
introduce me? Is that how I'm on now?
you are on. We can hear you and we can see you. Welcome. If you'll state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Polly Long. My address is 6736 Durwood Lane, Dublin, Ohio, 43016.
Thank you. You
May I
have
go ahead
three
and comment?
minutes. Yes, go ahead.
All right. I'm here today to advocate for my brother Liam Long and my fellow family members. Currently, Liam is in the hospital, unable to advocate for himself because he was hit with a police cruiser last Tuesday. Liam is autistic and has other mental health challenges. And at some point last Tuesday, the individuals around him determined that they needed to call for a welfare check. And what happened after that has been very hard to piece together because our family's been getting inconsistent information from the media, the police, and then the people on the scene. For example, originally in the media, it was reported that Liam ran into the road and the police cruiser that hit him was arriving on the scene and that he didn't suffer serious injuries. But when we found him, he was ventilated on site and moved to the hospital and has brain bleeds and cannot even get out of bed with the assistance of multiple people. There have been some accounts from other citizens that have stated things that differ greatly from what we've been told, and we haven't really been given any information. We don't have the officer's name or know anything about that night other than that it appears a police cruiser was weaponized in some ways against him. All of this puts me here in front of you today because we'd really like to see changes to the collective bargaining agreement and local policy that keep police from being as transparent as what the community may need and may deserve at times in situations like this. You've got a Black child with mental health problems, and he looks a lot like a statistic right now. And the information that we're getting is really inconsistent, and it's scary given what we've seen across the nation and what we know about racial and mental disability biases. And we just don't want that to happen in this situation. And we're not trying to accuse anybody of anything just yet, but we would like to at least have the information so somebody else can get us some answers. Because right now we're left to figure it out on our own. And that seems more like dictatorship than democracy in some ways. So we really just are trying to ask for help in the situation with Liam, not just for him, but for all the other young men and women that come up after him. Yeah, and that's all I have to say.
Polly, thank you very much for your comments. And I am sorry for your heartache about this. You will get more answers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Next is Elizabeth Long. And there you are.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had to unmute and start my video.
No worries, you're just in time. If you will state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, thank you. My name is Elizabeth Long, and my address is 19 West First Avenue, apartment 202, Columbus, Ohio, zip code 43201. And today, I am just going to reiterate, that was my sister that, yes.
Elizabeth, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you please put your video back on? We need to see your face. There you go. And we'll start your 3 minutes over. Is your audio working?
There it goes.
Okay.
There it goes. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened.
Don't worry. Go ahead.
So that was my sister that just spoke, and I just want to reiterate, what she said. My baby brother, Liam Long, was hit by a police cruiser last Tuesday evening. And we're just seeking answers as to what exactly happened. When the incident occurred, Liam was suffering from a mental health crisis. And as previously stated, he is also autistic. When he was taken to the hospital, Liam suffered a brain bleed. His nose is broken. His scapula and collarbone are broken. His leg and foot are in a boot, and he has multiple lacerations that have resulted in stitches. This, we don't want to place blame on anybody. We just want to figure out what happened, because a response to a mental health crisis should never lead to injuries like that, injuries that Liam sustained and that we're currently trying to work through right now. As my sister previously stated, the information that we've been given has been very back and forth. We've gotten information from the media that said there were non-life-threatening injuries, but obviously the injuries were much more severe than, being reported. People have been out to visit the crime scene or the investigation scene, and kind of understand what's going on, and not even knocked door to door to figure out exactly what occurred. And from what we're being told by eyewitnesses and what's kind of laid out and mapped out in the road, it really does seem like something occurred that where we don't exactly have all the information. And so tonight, I'm just calling in to speak on behalf of Liam and my family and ask that any information that can be released. And, we understand that this is ongoing and that there are challenges to releasing that information, but anything that we can gather to try and piece together what happened that night and what happened to Liam, so that he doesn't become a statistic, so that this isn't something that happens to other, boys and girls and people's siblings and moms and brothers and et cetera. We just want to gather that information, and we're asking you guys to help us do that.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. And
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, I'm sorry for your pain in this, and you will have more answers.
Thank you. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Next is Kendra Long. Kendra, can you turn your audio and your video on, please?
Good
There you
evening.
are. Thank you.
I was trying to figure it out. I do this
Yeah.
for work, but it's on my big computer and it's for the state. So I didn't want to
No-
do
no
personal.
worries.
Forgive.
It's all right. If you'll give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. Welcome.
My name is Kendra Long. I am the mother of Liam Long, 750 Shaker Drive, condo 905, Lexington, Kentucky, 40504. Those were just my daughters that spoke. I'm so very proud of them.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm calling this evening to use my voice to advocate for my son, Liam Long. For the past week, Liam has been without his own voice, his memory, and his ability to walk independently. He will likely never be the same son I raised. Liam was in need of support. At some point last Tuesday, it was decided that his welfare was a concern. Rather than contact our family and mental health professionals, the police were called to treat Liam as a criminal. My son is a teenager with autism and mental health challenges. While he needed care, he was responded to with force. I do not know what was going through Liam's mind before or after the police were called. My son is a teenager with autism. I'm sorry, I'm so upset. I also do not know what led the police to violently crash their car into my son. To our dismay, we have been left to find our own answers to these questions, like my daughters just stated. Our family was not contacted until 4.5 hours after Liam was laying in the road where his blood still remains. We were not provided with accurate information, reports, or footage of this incident. And Liam doesn't remember anything. The police reported to the media that Liam ran into the road in front of a police cruiser arriving on the scene and did not suffer injury. I can tell you this is false. The police nearly turned Liam, my son, a young Black male with a disability, into yet another tragic statistic. He was intubated, placed on a ventilator, and suffered a subarachnoid brain bleed. Several fractures and lacerations, as my daughters both mentioned as well. Numerous concerned citizens who witnessed this incident have shared their accounts with us, contradicting the limited information released by the police. I actually went door to door. We have also visited the scene of the incident looking for answers. If the police cruiser had just arrived on the scene, as reported, why are there indications that it was actually chasing him? Why does the scene show that the police car crossed into the wrong lane? It actually shows the orange marks in the road. Many accounts shared with us led us to believe that the cruiser intentionally targeted Liam. We've even been told the police continued to yell at him and treat him as a criminal after he was motionless in the road. I plead with you for answers and solutions. The police officers and department must be held accountable for their actions inflicted on my son. They must be held to a higher standard of transparency. This incident is another example of why there must be change to the collective bargaining agreement and local policy that allow police to withhold the truth and not properly de-escalate a situation that caused a simple welfare check to land Liam in the ICU. It was the brain injury trauma ICU, 7th floor, UK, with severe traumatic and avoidable injuries. Ultimately, I'm just asking for justice for Liam. And that means that we must ensure that we must find ways of truly supporting all individuals like my son who require community assistance for their welfare rather than repeating another mistake. I so thank you for your time and concern.
Kendra, thank you. I'm very sorry for the pain you have had to endure because
I'm just worried about Liam.
Yes, I know you are. And I met with the chief this morning and expressed some of what you expressed in terms of transparency, and we will get you answers.
I really appreciate it because I can't even explain to Liam what happened. And he's so confused when he saw his face in the mirror. When I was bathing him for the first time, he had not seen his face.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. All right. Next up is April Taylor.
Mayor Gorton, April Taylor has not logged in yet,
Okay.
and neither has the name just slipped me. The next one, Emma, on the list. Yes.
Has Rona Dawson?
No, she contacted us that she is going to come on the 22nd.
Okay. So council members, I think the best thing to do then is to move on. And if April Taylor and Emma Anderson come in, Stacy, will you let me know? And we'll go
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. very much. All right. Next is minutes of the March 18th council meeting. Could I have a motion